Hello, everybody, and welcome to RIoT 55 Billions to Trillions. I've got my dear friend Tom Schneider up in the corner as my co-host for the moment. But we're going to give people just about another minute before we get started here. But I wanted to thank everybody for joining us and really looking forward to this particular event. I'm going to go ahead and bring up my slides and kind of give you the lay of the land before we introduce our speakers and get started. So give me just one moment while I present my screen. There we go. So like I said, welcome. This is our 55th RIoT. For those of you who might be like me and not remember what L stands for in the Roman numerals, but this is started as a RFID event, and there's a lot of really interesting ramifications of passive tagging and the updates to RFID systems. But before we dig into that, I wanted to provide a few tips for the day. If you need accessibility options, I wanted to remind you that you do have the ability down at the bottom of your screen to turn on closed captions or live transcriptions. For our speakers, we're anticipating having a few minutes of Q&A between each of the sessions themselves. If you have a question, please go ahead and put that in the chat window to the right. You can do that directly to Caroline, who is going to be asking the questions in between the sessions, or you can put them in the live chat, which is where everybody can see them. We also have a number of exhibit tables after the keynotes are over, which is going to be open from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern. It's really simple. Just go ahead and take a seat. I'll call out our individual exhibitors and some of the things that you can go ahead and discuss with them in just a moment. But this event is being recorded, so don't hesitate to, just pay attention instead of furiously taking notes. A little bit about RIoT for those of you that haven't been here. RIoT is an economic development organization focused on the data economy. It's through a lot of our corporate sponsors and city sponsors and everybody that's participated in the ecosystem that we can make these events free. But we just really appreciate all the support and the community around IoT, edge computing, AI, and ML that makes these types of events possible. So if you see anybody from any of these organizations, be sure to thank them that we have the possibility to do these things without charging anyone. Before we introduce our speakers and get rolling here, I wanted to set the stage on the opportunity and why we're having this discussion around connected devices at scale. Back in January, for those of you that might have participated, we had an event around edge computing. And as we started to dig in more into the opportunities around where data is being aggregated, we started to look at RFID as a technology that's been around for quite a while, but there's been such an incredible advancement in reader technology, the size and scale of the chips themselves, and then even to the degree where there's 21 billion of these tags created every single year, and that's being accelerated. And so in my graphic here, you can see just the minuscule size of these circuits, even to the degree where that middle picture is actually embedded inside linens. So the ability for us to gain information from everyday objects is just accelerating at such a rapid clip. So the focus of today's event is how we have to shift our thinking into managing every device can be connected to the internet, whether it's a seed on a farm, linens in a laundromat, vaccines going through our logistical systems. So it's really neat for us to have the speakers that we have today and then be able to articulate some of the opportunities that's available to us. So to introduce our speakers, first, John Cowan, the founder and CEO at EdgeX, is going to be leading the charge here initially for this event. And he's going to talk a little bit about how tech platforms can handle data at scale and some of the infrastructure that could be useful. Followed up with Karthik Munirathanam, who's the director of digitization at Schaeffler. And so he's going to talk some of the logistics and operations at scale within the Schaeffler organization. And then we're going to take a step back to get perspective on how an astrobiologist might consider scale and how truly massive a billion and a trillion really are. And then we're going to close out with our friend Sean Edmonston, who's Director of Information Technology at Alfred Williams, and talk about how they have been using technology and RFID tags when they're creating connections between people, places, and purpose. Oops, I went the wrong way. Sorry about that. Forgive me, my slides are going the wrong direction here. So at the end of the event, we are going to have the opportunity to engage with our exhibitors. All of these organizations will have a table, and all you need to do is just jump in an open seat. At the end, I'll call out some ways that you can engage with the content and the speakers, as well as with these exhibitors. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to the stage John Cowan from EdgeX. So I'm going to step away and we'll bring John up on stage.